What is going on, everyone? And welcome to Sarcastic Stocks. This is our happy hour presented by PBAlerts. I'm live here with Amma Jamma. How are you doing, Amy?
Hey, how are we doing? I just want to clarify right away. I've got nasty storms outside my house. If it starts to get a little sketchy, we apologize. This is going to be a weekly segment. So whatever you see today, if we have any sort of technical issues because of these storms, we will be back next week, same time.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know that I know you're in like the Chicago area. I know that I've probably heard some tornado warnings. So yeah, just so everyone is aware, bear with us in case we do have some technical difficulties. But
Yes.
let's get right into it. So like you said, we are going to be doing this weekly. It is our Sarcastic Stocks happy hour. So as the name says, this is going to be your traditional talking about the market and being all stern and strict. We'll be having a good time here.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
speaking of which, you want to get right to our first segment?
Yes, I will. We're going to have a random variety of segments each week. And this week we're going to kick things off today with we've got our Weeble Warzone. Woohoo! I'm so excited. Love the graphics, guys. But anyway, all right. So we've got Weeble Warzone. What I'm going to do in this segment, and I won't explain this every week, just this time, we're going to pick a couple comments and just kind of make fun of what we see on Weeble. All right. So we've got, right here, this guy's name, even though it's blurred out, is Shib something. And it says, if you don't want to make money, stay away from this today because honestly, squeeze day. But hey, anyone want a better price? Money where the mouth is. What will the price be today? I've made plenty. And what I thought was funny about this was Sergeant Pepper's. This next comment, he says, "Never trust anyone with Shib in their name." Just saying. And then the next comment is "Hodl stocks." So in in Weeble in general, anytime you have a comment where you see Shib, Hodl, Stonks, Ape Army, anything like that, just be very, very careful in taking that advice because I don't think they realize the charts go the opposite way. So here we have another one talking about AMC.
Well, really quickly off of that one, I just did want to mention, I know that we used to talk about the this is a while ago, the Dogecoin millionaire. I know Dogecoin Shib, they go hand in hand, that whole hold'em mentality. And I'm pretty sure that Dogecoin millionaire is no longer a millionaire anymore, right?
He is not a millionaire. Doge had gotten absolutely wrecked. It's like the last year didn't happen. It was down 4 or 5 cents not too long ago. And the funny part is with him, he actually did make videos to say, I was absolutely wrong. I should have sold my Doge. I should not have hodled this Doge. And I mean, anything that people made that argument of holding last year, you got wrecked.
Well, that's like just like you were saying, if you see someone in Weeble comments and they're, hodl Shib or hodl, and they're telling you, hodl, a meme coin or, any kind of like asset that is highly risky, maybe don't follow every single part of their advice. Maybe take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly, and that is the truth. My camera's pretty weird. It got so dark out, I didn't have time to adjust the lighting.
No,
sorry, guys. But it's absolutely true. And I mean, that's the funny part. This other one we have here, it's just this last line. All right, they're talking about AMC, and they say, be prepared, don't panic, just buy and hold. We will win. What are they winning? I mean, we're under $20 on AMC. We were at over $70. It's been 18 months. The shorts have covered, everybody. I promise the shorts have covered. So I really don't understand what exactly is their big war they're fighting. They're fighting themselves. I mean, the conspiracy theories are just...
It's those socially responsible traders, as we say in PBU, the people who trade not based off of setups, but based off their social views. And in this case, it's Wall Street bets versus the little people. And I was the same way. I was all about or I'm sorry, not Wall Street. It was Wall Street bets versus the versus Wall Street. So Wall Street versus little people. And I was all on the little people, the Wall Street bet side. And I was down a pretty good amount of money. I got lucky and it turned around. I was able to get out with profit. But like, yeah, that whole mentality is, it's like us versus them. We're gonna win. It's like it's not a baseball game or a football game. You're not like, there's no winning or losing in the market. You're not facing up against anyone. So
you're not evil if you sell your stock. I promise everybody.
People who short, people who buy puts. It's all about making money. It's not about being good or bad or whatever.
Absolutely. All right. So now we're going to segment over to a stock twits one. And this one's pretty funny to me. Anyone that's been following HKD, now this stock has gone from $8-9 when it IPO'd about 10 days ago, and it hit $2,200 yesterday. So it had about 14,000% move. And this is true right here. Those AMC, I'll tell you what, those AMC apes, it says if this tanks down below $20, say, then divorce offices will have much job to do in the coming works. And they misspelled coming, of course. But it's true. I mean, you know, that those kind of stocks too. And I guess this is more lecture type than making fun of the quote, because it's so true. I mean, that stock, and I'm a day trader. I didn't touch that for the last week. Nope. It's not natural for a stock to move from $8 to $2,000 on relatively low volume. It's like terrifying to me. I'm not shorting that. I'm not touching that up or down. I will wait. I will wait.
Risk to reward ratio wasn't there for you.
No. And you know, I like those high risk day trades, but that one I didn't touch. I was like, nope, I'm not touching this one. So
they should make a bar, in the future called Diamond Hands for all the people who are now divorced and now drinking because they went and spent, put the mortgage on Ethereum, mortgage on Dogecoin or something like that.
Yeah, the Diamond Hands couple or singles night.
Yeah, there you
30-second dating with the Diamond Hands. There you go.
Oh
my God, that would be ridiculous. That would be great. All right, so let's segment into the next segment, and this is a little bit of a quiz for myself and everybody in the comments. I'd like you to answer too. We got two truths and a lie. And really, what this one is Duck's going to name us 3 ridiculous NFTs, and let's guess even in the comments too. Guess which one's the lie. He's going to give me 3 NFTs, and we're going to figure out which one's not real.
And I'm going to put it in the comments section as well.
Sounds good.
Here are the 3 different NFTs. One is, I just made it up off the top of my head. And so before Amy goes, as everyone, listening at home, is your job to try to figure out which one out of these 3 is the fake one or the imposter, and which one of these 3 ridiculous names, are actual NFTs. This is not like the stock trading world where you have Facebook, and now you have some really weird names out there in the NFT space. So we have D-Gods, The Potatoes, and YOLO Rabbit Runners. So these are the 3 different NFT projects, one of which is not, but 2 of them are, surprisingly. And 2 of them actually, they're doing pretty well for themselves, actually, surprisingly enough.
This is tough. So I'm going to throw out one I definitely think YOLO Rabbit Runners is an NFT.
Okay.
So now I'm between D-Gods and The Potatoes. I mean, this is tough. I'm going to go with The Potatoes or the fake.
Potatoes? Okay. So funny enough. So if you go here, I'll put it full screen. You can see right here, number 5, The Potatoes is actually an NFT.
Up 80% too.
Yeah, right now their floor price is 1.35 Ethereums. That's around 1,800 maybe. I don't even know what Ethereum's at right now. I think it's around 16. But so that's funny. So Agent Penguin says YOLO Rabbit Runners. I feel like I've heard of the other 2. Which she was right about D-Gods. D-Gods is a real one. Like we said, The Potatoes is a real one. The D-Gods one is an interesting one, actually. They're a really big one on the Solana blockchain, which I know had a lot of drama, Solana just recently, which we'll get into in a little bit. But they're on the Solana blockchain. They're like the Bored Ape, or one of the Bored Apes, of Solana, and they actually just bought a basketball team recently. The Ice Cube's like Big 3 league, where you can in order to own a basketball team, you just buy these NFTs, like $25,000. But these D-Gods NFT, the project, they went and voted and they bought a basketball team. So now all those holders are part of a basketball team ownership.
Crazy.
So D-Gods is real. The Potatoes are real.
We're one of these weeks soon. I'm going to buy an NFT. And Duck's going to talk me through it. We're going to do this, and I'm going to start collecting some NFTs because is the NFT market starting to look a little better now that crypto has kind of found a floor a little bit recently?
Well, I wouldn't say better. I still think that just like crypto, it's definitely on the rise somewhat. It's not like going free fall, roller coaster down, but it's still risky. People it's not like the stock, even the stock market, is risky, but it's not like the same thing where besides like a COVID pandemic, you're not going to have these big drops with crypto, all this news coming out, the regulations, everyone's kind of on edge, who knows, something big could happen and, everything just goes to zero, which, it really isn't the case with the whole market, stock market as a whole. So I think that it's definitely, improving. I think that the bear market definitely shook out a lot of the people who are here for the wrong reasons, people who are trying to scam and do rug pulls. But I definitely think that I wouldn't YOLO into the NFT space yet. I would still, do it patiently. That being said, one of the most recent projects we talked about on our YouTube channel was actually Subway Rats. I talked about it like a month ago. This is a free mint. So if you got, you're able to get in really early, like I said, a month ago, you're able to get on the white list. Free mint. I think it was like $5 for me to mint with the gas. Right now it's a 0.07 floor price. That's like around $108. So it's, $5
Wow.
to $100 isn't a terrible return.
That's fantastic. Hell yeah, that is fantastic. And there's some I do like, and you see a lot of the news you see about and I agree with you. I think it shook out a lot that either A, were kind of primed to fail anyway, or B, were kind of a little sketchy on the come up. So I agree with you.
There's still so much crap out there as far as that. Like I still believe like 95% of these that are currently out now are not going to be here. Like it's like startups, like, the startups in the real world, like only a very small percentage of startups, real life startups work out.
Yeah.
So like, this is what the NFT space is, a bunch of startups. So for anyone to think that like every single one's going to work out is delusional. So, do your own research, definitely, trade the ups and downs. I wouldn't, put your mortgage into an NFT.
I think that's a fantastic perspective. All right. Now, one of our favorite ladies of 2020 into 2021, we have got Cathy's Cuts and Cops. All right. So for this, we are, they're pretty cool graphics. Let's just give our graphic team high five on that. Loving it. So I'm going to pull up our sells for, okay, here we go. So here is today's buys and sells, and I'll tell you which ones I like in here. So she bought quite a bit of TDOC across the board in 3 or 4 of her different ARK funds. All right, so we've got some TDOC, some RX to me is very, very interesting. That's what I'm going to look into a lot more. It's one I've been watching as well and waiting for an entry on. But you can see across the board here, Mark Forge, so MKFG, and then our TDOC. And TDOC had been wrecked on earnings, like it always gets wrecked on earnings. But then that set up a pretty decent setup for TDOC. Let's pop up the chart real quick. We'll look at this TDOC and see what I think here at this price. Because I'm not claiming that Cathy is right with her entries. We know she had a rough 2021. Yeah. But I can say that if we look long-term at this chart, our last 3 dips are higher highs, higher lows. So that's good. Even if we get into a bear market, you can kind of relatively, mitigate your risk and expect to bounce like the $32, $33 level. So I can understand making a buy on that today for sure. So yeah, I kind of agree with that one, to be honest. I am, however, no sells. I mean, in this, that's a little surprising me. We've had 2. Oh, we do have a couple sells here. She sold some Synopsis and some Compugen. We've had a pretty bullish market the last couple weeks. So, I like, but I do like the TDOC. I know Mr. SLP Lee, I just saw his comment here. He loves TDOC too. I think it's a fantastic price. I mean, of course, a lot of these companies were overvaluated on our bull run. But I mean, if you look at this in perspective, we were up, I believe, over $200 on this one at one point. Yeah, we were up towards 300, and we're sitting at $35. So, that these are the loading zones, guys. I love this setup myself, and I guess Cathy gets a thumbs up for today. I wanted to criticize her, but I like TDOC, so that one's good.
You did make a very interesting point, though, about her entry points, and everyone definitely should be aware. Well, they already know. Cathy Woods has a lot of money, so for her buying something, holding it for a year, it's not the same thing for someone putting their paycheck into a stock, and who can't wait. So it is really important to depending on what your plan is, what your portfolio looks like, to take that into consideration when looking into these types of like Cathy Wood or or Kramer bought this or whatever.
I absolutely agree with that, and that is something to consider with Cathy Wood's cuts and cops. Definitely consider these are long holds, retirement holds, years out. I do think that is a good thing to consider. So hopefully Cathy's things start to look better here. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic in the market. We ran a little too hot the last couple weeks. We need a little bit of a pullback, but we'll wait and see. So that is about all with Cathy. Okay, so our next segment is my personal favorite, and it is Kramer Say What.
Oh boy, I was looking forward to this one all week.
We've got some Kramer for you folks. All right, I'm gonna stop screen sharing. There we go. All right, so we have two. These are hilarious, guys. Okay, so Jim Kramer, July 20th at 6. He's been shredding at Coinbase for like a week. He says, I've been waiting for the SEC investigation of Coinbase to happen for ages. Now here we go. You can't just do what you want with securities in this country. Okay. So that's what he said on July 26th. Here is Coinbase's chart since July 26th. This is the 26th right here. Boo, 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 straight up. And today, Coinbase, I took this picture this morning. We're actually we were up another like 12% today.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, we're up to so we have moved since he said we're up 20% today. I got to screen share this. This is crazy. So this is Coinbase right now. I mean, if you want to make money, you just go against Jim Kramer and you're good. So today we had another 20%. So since he has said that, we have moved from $53 to $85. We have moved 75% since he put that tweet out. I mean, when there's a reason they've got the inverse Kramer ETF funds, folks, because of that right there. Second one, one of Kramer's favorites too. He loves Walmart. He says we must ask ourselves how Walmart, which used to be so crisp in execution, could screw up twice. Now, in Kramer's defense, we did have a little bit of bad news with Walmart stemming from that, but he put this tweet out the morning of July 26. Can you guess what the chart looks like?
What did they screw up twice, though?
They had reported some breakdown issues. If we look at the daily Walmart chart, we did have like a big gap down. They had some just issues with I don't know exactly what it was. I just remember that it pulled back like 10% overnight. Which is right before this right here. So this is the 26th. And actually, if you come on our Twitter spaces, myself and Lee and a couple other people that do the space together for Penny Boys, we talked about Walmart that morning in the sell-off, and we said, buy it now. This is the bottom. It's going to come immediately back up. That's just how Walmart is, and that's exactly what had happened. So that's two examples from 1 week that he criticized, and the stocks immediately blasted for 5 days after that. So I just think that's funny.
Sounds like you're bullish on Cathy and bearish on Kramer.
Yep. Absolutely. Sorry, it broke up a little bit. I don't know what you just said. Sorry about that.
No, I was saying it sounds like you're bullish on Cathy and bearish on Kramer.
I am bearish on Kramer. I mean, he can't. Let's face it, he can't live down saying, when Netflix was at 400, screaming buy. Like, that's just the reality of it. And he's got so many different stocks where he, like what he says, the stock does the opposite. And he's a little angry. If you go on his Twitter, he talks about his trolls all the time. I mean, he is not thrilled with how there. I mean, I think his inverse Kramer Twitter page has more followers than he actually has. So I'm not a Kramer fan. He was cool Mad Money back in the day, 20 years ago. It was where you could get some good stock knowledge. But now, I pass on Kramer.
There's so much out there now with YouTube and these types of services.
Absolutely. All right. What do we have next? We have crypto. My, oh my. All right. So this is I'm going to talk about a crypto story. And the one I'm going to talk about today is we have some Solana hacks happening.
It's wild.
Millions and millions and millions of dollars from 8,000 wallets. Hot wallets, which means we got cold wallet, we have hot wallet. Cold wallet, here, say it, Joe. Say it, Joe. You're in the chat. Put the quote out there. I will put it up on the screen for you. So, you know, when you have a hot wallet, you're connected to the internet in one way or another. So, and when you have a cold wallet, you're not. Your crypto's safer, and you know that's absolutely it helps you protect your crypto, and that's just the reality of it. So, I think they got like $8 million worth of crypto from a few different wallets here. And Solana has had a lot of issues when it comes to some crypto safety. So yeah, and he didn't put the quote up, not your wallet, not your crypto, not your keys, not your crypto. That's what I was waiting for Joe to type into that. He likes to say that a lot in our Discord, and I see him in the chat. So, and it's true. I mean, if you have a larger amount of crypto, you know, keeping yourself protected is important. I mean, you know, and it is something that you need to consider long term as a crypto investor, especially if you have larger amounts of money in there. So, I mean, that was a big story in crypto. Crypto's been pretty bullish of late. I mean, like the market, you know, it's been we've had some nice pushes. We had Bitcoin clear over 24K, or testing that level, which is great, you know. So we're still pretty close to 20, and we hit, I think 24.5 is a high. We're just stair stepping uptrend, higher lows on the 4-hour, higher lows on the daily. That's what we're looking for. So we did have a sell off over the last few days, but if you look at the daily chart, we're definitely getting better there. So anyway, so that is our little nugget of crypto. And I know that before we segment into our last segment, Duck, do you have anything you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to bring up, we're going to be talking about, you know, a specific stock. But before we talk about that, I just want to get into stuff, you know, the market in general, and just ask you a few questions about, you know, some of the things going on as far as the stock market goes. I know Facebook, or used to be Facebook, now it's Meta. They just got into the whole bonds, you know, like, you know, the whole bond area. I know that I think it was Amazon, some other big tech companies were doing that, and they had some success off of that. This is the first one for Meta. This is coming off of news that they're laying off staff. I know Mark Zuckerberg was like asked, you know, it was on camera live, you know, by a staff member, you know, what he thought about vacation time, and he seemed pretty annoyed by that, you know, after these layoffs. Like, I guess he's just not happy with this whole just how things are going with this market. I know, like, you know, back, you know, 10, 15 years ago, you know, working for Facebook, you know, working for Google, working, you know, all those tech bros, like, that was a thing to do, you know, like, and now it seems like, you know, Mark Zuckerberg is talking about how, you know, they're cutting back on, you know, like the dinners that, you know, the employees get, all these different perks. Like, it looks like, you know, that this form of tech might not be, it might, you know, might be changing, like, you know, what the tech giants are going to, you know, going to be looking like, you know, in the future. I was just wondering what you thought about just tech in general, you know, like Facebook, you know, Meta, Amazon, like what we might see in the future with metaverse and all this new technology, Web3, and all this coming in.
I mean, you know, Facebook Meta is one of, and I'm reading this, I'm not pulling this out of my head, but it's one of 18 companies on the S&P 500 that has no long or short-term debt. What that means is this is double faceted. And this is why I do like Meta, even with some bad earnings, loss of viewership, this and that. But they are a powerful enough company with enough, like buying bonds. They're a powerful enough company with enough dispensable income and enough cash on hand to dive into, say they jump into bonds and they've got metaverse and they've got this, that, the other. They have enough to spread 4 of them out. And if 3 of them fail, but 1 takes off, that's all they need. They've got the power and the platform to do so. And it is such a big company. I think no matter what, Facebook, Meta will always reinvent itself to, like, I mean, look at changing their name to Meta. That's big. I mean, just that people are actually consciously calling it Meta after a decade of Facebook is huge to me. That we're consciously doing that. So I think that by investing in the bond market and having some, you know, that stability of that, I think is great. I like Facebook long term. I think it's one of the safest stocks you could get into, even with the bad earnings, even with some of the negative stuff going on with privacy and lawsuits and this, that, the other. They're a powerful enough company that they overcome that. So, I mean, Facebook to me, and it's a fantastic entry, guys. Like, I'll pull the chart up real quick. Meta is at a really good entry because it hasn't it underperformed the market of late. So as you can see here, that's Bitcoin. Give me my meta chart. There we go. So here's our daily chart on meta. It hasn't pushed over the last couple weeks like a bunch of our other S&P, our big cap stocks have, because it had earnings. It was a little bit rough, the earnings. I think a lot of people were apprehensive to buy before earnings. I mean, once we push up over this 172 line we've got here, this thing's not getting touched till 184 and then 200. Fantastic entry, in my opinion, for some longer term leaps or some equities. Because when you look at Facebook compared to, say, Tesla, look at the daily on Tesla. This is due to come down. This has had a crazy, insane bull run, whereas Meta underperformed the market, and it's just kind of trading sideways in this zone right here, and is ready to push. So short term and long term, I like Facebook right now.
And I know I was just talking about, them with the, Mark Zuckerberg being visibly frustrated with his staff and doing the layoffs. Another big company that had some pretty big layoffs was Robinhood. They laid off around like 23% of their full-time staff. And yet they jumped around like 15%, up to around 15% today. What was that all about?
I mean, there's a lot of Robinhood has earnings. That I actually think it was earnings. Let me confirm. They have earnings they either had earnings this morning or they have it tonight. I just want to confirm because I'm not a big Robinhood fan. I don't play it too often, so I wasn't exactly following the exact date.
The broker and the stock, right?
Exactly. Robinhood has earnings today after close. So when we see a bull push like this, like in Robinhood, as you can see, let me show my chart. I've got Robinhood up, and it had a hell of a push today. I really wouldn't take a position going into earnings. Robinhood has had really good news and really bad news of late. Everything from, crypto wallets to just being Robinhood. And it's like, it sucks. It like invokes the shady factor. Like, oh, I have Robinhood stock. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but like a lot of people just don't like Robinhood. But I'll tell you what, it's the best for trading your options. They have a technologically terrible platform. They have issues. It gets shut down all the time, this, that, the other, but they've extended trading hours. It's an easy interface for new users to trade with. So, but I definitely don't like Robinhood at this price. It's up 100% over the last month. Isn't it crazy? Robinhood $6, guys. It's just insane to me. Some of these prices. So I'm expecting a pullback with earnings. I think this is a bull trap. I think we come below $9 tonight at earnings. That's my guess.
Yeah, and I know long term the analysts, that which doesn't really mean much. When it comes to the Wall Street analysts, they were talking about optimism, as far as Robinhood long term goes, because they think that these budget cuts are going to end up leading to them being profitable in the future, as far as their, revenue, just profitability goes in general, which could, in turn, bring the share price up. Do you think that might, obviously, good financials are a good thing, and laying off people isn't great news, but in theory, business wise, it's not a terrible move, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, and that's just the reality is saving money now invokes the future. There's a lot of uncertainty. Companies like Robinhood, like who own their own crypto, and you're renting the crypto from them, this and that, got wrecked with crypto coming down, got wrecked just in general with people out of the market, not trading. It's been a bear market. So the volume naturally is lower with traders. I mean, all these companies IPO'd, Coinbase, Robinhood, all these companies IPO'd at kind of the worst possible time. I mean, Robinhood opened up, hit $85 and has literally fallen like a tank since. So it's just a stock that for me personally, I don't like here. I don't like here. I want to see what happens with earnings. And if it pops 18% with earnings, more power to it. It's, it's not my cup of tea. So
I know you're talking about earnings. Apparently a bunch of the small cap stocks have been doing pretty well, with earnings, especially the publicly listed US companies. It's really strong earnings seasons. A lot of people are saying it's because they kind of set their expectations kind of low. So it's like, they beat them, but when they're low to begin with, it's not that hard to beat. I think it was around 74% of the small cap stocks are beating estimates, and for their top line revenues, and then around 71% are beating for the bottom line revenues, which is pretty good and almost unheard of. So, do you?
Yeah.
I know we talked a whole about a whole bunch of the stocks in our prior YouTube videos. Do you see this as a good thing? Strong earnings and all that, or do you see this as like kind of what was expected and it's like, oh, it wasn't bad news, but and yes, it was, I guess, good news, but it wasn't great news. Like, how do you see all this, forward thinking? Everyone's talking about like inflation, all this, everyone's trying to be positive, but do you think it's fluff?
I do think it's fluff-ish, because as our economy rebounds, the stocks will naturally rebound, and they will naturally have better setups, better numbers, better production, less production issues, less supply chain issues, and on and on and on. So yeah, I mean, you kind of had to naturally pull them back some to align with where we are as a nation and what people are spending, because in a very inflated market where we had free money, this and that, of course a stock like Nike is going to do better because people have money to spend on it. And in this pulled back market, you have to pull back the expectations some, because it's just the natural evolution, in my opinion. And I think it will ebb and flow and be okay ultimately.
Right. And because of all this, is because right now, like I was saying, small caps, the Russell, which is the small cap index, it's up around 9% this month, whereas the S&P 500, which is
Yeah.
500 of the bigger stocks, is only up around 7%. So are you now maybe using that and looking towards some of the smaller caps to start trading, as they have been more bullish as of late, or you think that's just kind of like just during the earnings seasons?
No, I think that small caps were due. Your biotech, your small cap, those type of stocks were wrecked even worse than our blue chips. Mr. SLP had talked about this a lot too. Like, we were shifting into that biotech higher risk, a lot of those really pushing. And if you look at the top runners this week, they're crazy gains. And these are all small cap. Some were news catalysts, some weren't, but after going probably 3-4 months with, having a 30% or a 40% of this and that, like having multiple stocks over 100% up, over 80% up, having day in, day out continuation, things like, TBLT, EVFM, they continued, and it kept that flow going, and money was pouring into them. So I think they were due. And I think they do outperform the S&P over the next month or so.
Oh, cool. So you see it continuing then with
Yes,
the Russell 2000.
for sure.
So I know we're at that 30-minute mark. I know everyone's been waiting patiently for the end of the show, which is the big one, the Amma and the Duck Quack-a-lacking picks. Everyone loves your your
Yes.
alerts. You are the shot caller, the alerter. So we want to know, what are you looking at? Like, what's that one stock that you're looking to put some of that bread into, that money into?
Well, for me this week, we had a rough earnings here on VALE, to be honest. But it's VALE. It's VALE at this level. It's anything VALE under $13 is definitely one I'm adding. This is an established. I mean, we had a lot of companies underperform with the market. VALE is getting a little bit of fun news over the last couple of days because of earnings being a little bit rough. And mining in general being a little bit rough, everything from supply chain and production issues to actually miners and employing people and this and that. So for me, VALE, which is a fantastic company, one of the largest mining companies,
Like
they were
Bitcoin mining or just regular mining?
No, this is mining, mineral mining, iron,
in
ore,
real life.
nickel. Yeah, it's real mining. They had bad earnings in June. I mean, their revenue was down like 36%, income was down 25%, diluted EPS down 18, but net profit margin up 18, which means they saved enough money for where it's good. Their profit margin was up. So they were close to the best and not spending a lot through it. And like you were just saying last segment about talking about, people pulling back a little bit. And I think that's a lot of the case with this. And it's literally a stock I really do like. It's a slower mover. It's a stock where if we go sideways or south, you're not going to wake up and this stock's not going to be down 10%. It's one you make a little buy-in, make sure we hold above this line I have drawn here, and get that push, start working towards that $18, $20. And it's very easy. It's a slower moving stock, and I really like this one. So I would give. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just, so that was big point that you made as far as this one, because I'm not really familiar with this one personally. So you see this one being obviously, it's the market, but on the safer side because it's not going to be doing those humongous,
Yeah.
10%, like a random big, random catalyst news types of stuff. This is the kind of stock where you can kind of
Yep.
wait a little bit, like, maybe go to work your 9 to 5 and not have to worry about waking up, coming back from work and seeing, your portfolio down 30% type of deal.
Yes, and that's exactly it. And and it's one that even at our I mean, we're not going to fall past 1040 on this stock. So even at that point, you're only about 10% from where we're at now. Make a first buy. And as long as we can prove and hold above, that $12 level, we're good. I would wait for a bounce. We probably see a bounce here, but I would say make your first buy here at like 1280. Make a second buy when we start to break over that 1380 point, like 5, 6, 8%, and then ride that baby on up to like $16, $18. This is long term. This is a 3 to 6 month hold. This is not a swing, folks.
I like this one though, because unlike a lot of the other stocks, that support line, like a lot of the stocks, we had that big run up and then the big sell off, but this, like, usually there's not a support line for that, like what this one does have, right before that big run up and sell off. But also the secondary, after it sold off, that secondary push is pretty decent right there. Yeah, that one right there. Like a lot of the other ones I've seen, they have that like a little push and it keeps going down. That one almost got back up to where it was the highs. It was, that shows a lot of strength, which I haven't seen with a lot of other stocks. So that's interesting.
Absolutely. I like this. It's just slower moving, good volume day in and day out. It has really nice volume. Yep. So that's my pick of the week. And what we're going to do on this segment is I'm going to give you a pick of the week. And then once in a while, throw in a bonus, like a crypto or an option trade, this or that. So every week we'll end the show with a pick of the week.
Awesome.
Right on.
Well, that was fun. That was a good show. I know
Yeah.
that we this is our first one. It was nice having all the segments, and it felt like a show.
Exactly. Absolutely. It
Good.
was fun. And we'll be adding new segments, guys, taking away segments, constantly evolving this one. So you guys all rock for tuning in. Yeah. Do you have anything else, Duck?
No, just always do your own research. If you have any
Yes.
questions at all, can feel free to ask in the comments, or you can just join us at our Discord. The link to that is in the description, and we are always there, pretty much 24/7 to
Always.
answer questions, especially between the two of us. There's always one of us around.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week, same time, same channel. You guys rock.
Make some bread.
Bye.